Hi, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Scott Morris. I'm the Director of Business Development for Gaming for GTS Distribution, which is the really long and fancy way of saying the board game guy. And we are here to talk about some really cool board games. We're here with one of our biggest partners, Ares Games. I have Nathan Bishan, who is the sales manager for Ares Games here in the United States. Although most people know Ares as being from Italy originally. Christoph, hello if you're watching. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Ares has been a very long time, very big partner of GTS's. They make amazing games. Most of you are probably going to know them from the War of the Rings series, which is one of their most popular titles of all time and an absolutely just chef kiss kind of game. We're going to be talking about some new releases that are coming up, and I don't want to steal all the thunder because that's why Nathan is here. He's better looking than me and he's smarter than me when it comes to their product. So Nathan, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know you got a lot to kind of go through, so I will kick it over to you, let you get started, and we'll kind of have a conversation as we go along, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Scott. I would question the last half of that statement, but
You definitely have more hair than me. We'll leave it at that. Right?
Well, speaking of great hair, we like to have fun over here at Ares. So yeah, just a little reiterate. I'm Nathan. I'm the sales manager here at the LLC, and let's talk about some Ares board games, huh? So the first thing, I'm going to show some slides that are just going quickly over. We have over 15 different partners. We're distributing over 30 things in the next, just quarter one. So kind of just once I figure out how to, there we go. So I'm just briefly kind of showcasing like what's coming in the next couple of months of reprints. We've got This War of Mine, tons of Phalanx titles coming in April. We've got The Thing, which I'm going to talk more in deeper in a couple slides, but this just shows you how much we put out every quarter.
Well, the good thing though too is like if you go back a slide real quick,
Mhm.
while there is a lot there, like there's a lot of additional things to the games, right?
Yeah,
I definitely don't
accessories.
want retailers to get like overloaded, like, oh my God, there's like 95 new games coming out this year. Like you look
Yeah,
at the very top, you have the Thing board game, but then you've got the Norwegian Outpost expansion, the human miniatures, the alien miniatures. Those are things that you don't necessarily need to play the base game, but
correct.
obviously if they do well, you're going to have options there. So while it looks like a lot, it's actually just the fact that you guys are not just releasing games, you're actually supporting the product with more than just the base game, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Sure.
But yeah, so then let's talk about some more in greater depth detail stuff at the end of this month, or actually March 17th. Uh, Quartermaster General 1914 card game produced by Ian Brody. It's a really fast war game board game type where you're playing the different uh, allies or axis. And what's really cool about this game is it's a war game that's very little about the battle. It's all about the beans and bullets of war, supply lines, and supplying your army to create, this um, supply line of goods, of beans and bullets to defend your territories. It's a very tight game. You're basically contesting these huge historical points from World War I, and you're basically just trying to keep your supplies up and up and up. But what I also really like about it is all the decks are basically your supply lines. And so the United States has like a larger deck than, say, Italy, because they had more resources. And they're all asymmetrical too. So like Russia has little to no navy, whereas like the UK has a very large navy, but a much smaller, you know, uh, ground troops. Really fast pace. It's great. What I like, I think my favorite part though is that it's a war game that's not, you don't need to be a war gamer to play it. It's so just fast paced, play a card, very instantaneous next player.
I was going to say my experience with Quartermaster General has been that it actually hits both sides of that coin.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of friends that love like possibly to a dangerous degree, love historical wargaming. And
Yeah.
they get into these big, like, we're going to start on, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and finish Monday night at 9 p.m. type games that are just like super long and everything. And they've loved the Quartermaster General piece because it scratches that itch of wargaming without having to be this like commitment game that you're spending all weekend for. But at the same time, on the flip side of that, like if you were to bring friends to game night and show them this big giant like 2-table sprawling war game, they're going to be like, yeah, that's intimidating. Like, I don't know if I can do that or not, right? But this is so I hesitate to use the word compact, but I think that's a really good word for it because it is so, it's very dense, right? There's a lot to these games, given the fact that, like you were talking about, they're asymmetrical. Everyone's country does different things and has different opportunities to do different things throughout the battle and everything. But it can scratch an itch for a casual gamer, and it can scratch an itch for a really heavy war gamer, which I think is really cool.
Absolutely. And there's also, like, we have the Quartermaster General World War II. So if they want the World War II, this is the World War I, but we have the World War II. We're coming out with a prelude expansion for the World War II series that kind of sets the tone for the game. So there's lots of mix and match with this. Ian Brody is just a great card game designer. Like, he just makes
great guy.
really streamlined card games that are just really clean and great. Yeah. But yeah, that's coming out March 17th. MSRP $49.90. Great price point for how much replayability is to this game.
And everything that you're seeing here, retailers, when you see the SKU on there, those are SKUs that you can go to gtsdistribution.com, or you can just ask your account manager for. We've got those set up in the system. So if you haven't pre-ordered already, definitely take the time to do that. But everything you see here will be in our system for ordering.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So yeah, that was Quartermaster General in 1914. This is probably my most anticipated, excited game of the year. I'm so ready for this. I'm a big horror film fan. So we've got the Thing board game and the Norwegian Outpost expansion, which are the larger black box and then the larger white box. And then the smaller boxes are miniatures, which I have on a second slide. The Nia, I couldn't get we're still in production. I couldn't get any other pictures. Unfortunately, the neon green mat is not coming to retail just yet. We're gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see how, we're anticipating it's gonna do really well. And if it does really well, we're gonna pull some of those upgrades back out. And
now, there was a Thing board game that was released couple of years back. This is completely different from that, right?
Completely different. Yep.
Yes.
So it's got the same kind of like, semi-cooperative. There's one infected, so it's like a 1 versus many. The big major differences is that it has variable play to play one. It has a solo mode, a 2-player and a 3-player that the other one did not have it. You had to play at a minimum of 4.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So this is a little more flexible then.
Yes. And then also the Norwegian expansion pulls in movie context from that remake that they made, like maybe in 2015. It was kind of a prequel. So it kind of pulls like a whole new lab. So there's 2 different interchangeable boards you can play.
Nice.
Lots more characters, tons of content. But yeah, really, really excited for it. It's kind of on that same vein of Nemesis. You're all working together to try to escape this outpost while one person is trying to infect everybody and let no means of escape.
And that would never be me. I would never do this. Yeah. I'm never the traitor ever.
But yeah, and also great price points. We like to break things down into smaller bite-sized pieces so that, we're not forcing retailers or consumers having to buy these big box things to get everything. Kind of
Because you don't
compartmentalizing
need to
it.
have the miniatures, right? You can just
No,
play the game with the
yeah,
base game as it is, but the miniatures just kind of add more ambiance to it. And like I always say, give all of us as consumers more things to sit on our shelf and not paint yet. So because we're so behind on everything like that. But no, I love that flexibility of that because, to your point, $59.90 for a licensed board game with a major Hollywood license is really good right now
yeah,
because I'm seeing a lot of people raising SRPs. I'm seeing a lot of people that, there's a lot of chitter chatter kind of behind the scenes of like 60 is the new 70 and things like that, or 70 is the new 60 and things like that. So being able to get the base game and everything you need for $60 and then kind of a la carte add to the game as you want to add to the game, right? If you love the game, get the Norwegian Outpost. If you really love the game, get the miniatures and everything to kind of add to the ambiance to it. That's a great thing because I've seen it before in the past where retailers have an option to sell a game like this and it's going to be really good, but then the publisher just kind of bloats the box and suddenly it goes from a $60 game to a $99 game, and the retailer may sell two, maybe three. They
right.
could have sold like 6 or 7 though if it had been just that base game option with other options as well. Because while you and I might buy everything for something in that collectionist kind of mentality, there's many people who just like, no, I'm just happy with the like base game and playing the board game and going as it is. So I think offering that flexibility is a really, really important factor at the retail level.
Yeah, and that's we special, like we love that. We that's a guarantee with almost all of our games that we do, especially something like this. We're doing a major movie, a big partner. So yeah, we're super
Is
excited.
is that a vodka bottle token in the bag that I'm looking at?
That or Jameson.
Oh yeah, it's
I'm
Jameson. There you go.
hoping. I'm hoping.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Very thematic.
But yeah, so there we go. And then yeah, these are just the miniature expansions, $29.90 MSRP for each of them. Yeah, comes in a box.
Those
set of
look
three.
great.
Yeah, very super. That
How big are the miniatures? Are those what millimeter size, do you know?
I
It looks like
actually,
the aliens are a little bigger.
yeah, actually I don't know. I've seen
Okay.
like
Excuse
this.
me.
This is
No, that's okay.
yeah.
It looks like the base ones are pretty standard D&D size miniatures, but it looks like
Yes,
the aliens might be a little bit larger there with the thicker bases and everything.
definitely a little larger.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because it looks like there's like, 7 or 8 in the human miniatures, but then there's only like the 4 in the alien miniatures. So
Yeah.
and that one on the right looks menacing. That's
Oh,
pretty awesome.
yeah, it looks so good. But yeah, so that's, and then last one I'm gonna go like into deep is another one I'm excited for, Orconomics. It's a orc. Oh man, what's the best way to explain this? It's an orcish economy game.
Sure.
It's got some levels of like kind of like Catan, where you have these different industries that have, dice rolling effects. You've got like your 4 and 5 and do different things when you roll those numbers. So you're rolling 2 dice and you activate that sector. And then depending on the players who have businesses in there, startups, they'll either gain money or lose money depending on how cards and player interaction. It's very, very take that. I see that I missed the MSRP.
It's
On
free.
that
No, it's
slide.
not. It's not.
Yeah. It is $39.90.
That's great.
Suggested MSRP. So yeah, there's and there's going to be a lot more cards. This is just kind of the baseboard and stuff, but incredible artwork, and the theme to this game is just so silly and fun.
It's very unique, right? You don't normally see a orc in a business suit on the front of a game.
Right. Like I love like you can't really see it too well, but the banking one is like this huge orc like in a torn up suit, like listening into a horn phone call, yelling about the stocks and stuff.
Nice.
It's just yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is another one of the companies that you're working with that did extremely well on Kickstarter, and then you guys brought it in under the Ares wing, right?
Right. It's Earology.
You guys seem to be doing a really good job of that, right? Like dungeonology and the phalanx stuff and things like that. You seem to be doing a really good job of finding the people that are doing well on the crowdfunding side of things, but may not always have an avenue into distribution, or may not have a way to take a game that did, medium to high success on Kickstarter and translate that to retail and distribution. You guys seem to be doing a really good job of partnering with the right people to bring the right games to the market, which is really cool.
Yeah, and like their first game, which was also really successful, Masters of the Night, it was a cooperative vampire family game. We sold out of that in like a month. Like we're already waiting on a reprint. Like it.
Awesome.
So yeah, the art style, the thematics. And this is a great, just like, it's that gateway game. It's not too super in depth, but it also it's a little more bump of, something super, super light. So
awesome.
Yeah. And then lastly, we're just going to briefly talk about some exciting things that are going to be like quarter 3, quarter 4. But
which are right around the corner.
Yeah. You blink and we'll be there.
I'm already selling things for December, man. So it's there.
Yeah. So next big box thing in our Sword and Sorcery line. If you're not familiar with our Sword and Sorcery line, it's our big box dungeon crawler that we've been doing since 2016. There's 2 main seasons right now. The first season has 4 big box expansions, 12 different character packs, tons of little accessories and add-ons. We just came out in January of this year with season 2. And this is going to be the first big box expansion to that. Nice. What I really love about the Sword and Sorcery titles is packed with minis. Over 20 to 30 minis per box. Every box is under 100 MSRP, which I just do not find big dungeon crawlers under that $100 threshold.
No, especially lately. We've seen them at like 150 or 180. This is my jam, man. I mean, there are a lot of dungeon crawling games available to people from all sizes and shapes. Yeah. But for my bang for the buck, I've played everything, like you name it, from the top of the line to the bottom of the line, because I love both cooperative dungeon crawl games, but I also love one versus many type games. The thing that I just dug into when it came to Sword and Sorcery was the fact that it's very logical. I know that sounds like a weird word to say, but the way that the monsters and the bosses operate is a very processed, almost like program type AI of how they work. And I love that because it becomes a puzzle. To me, at least, it becomes a situation where you're, a hero or multiple heroes, you're in this battle and you're like, okay, we understand all of this person's tactics and what they're going to do and how they're going to attack us. But how do we get around this? Like, how do we avoid this? How do we work together? And how do you not do something that puts me in a bad position? And how do we do the most damage to the bad guy? And I love that because, it's a lot of times with games like this, you can get into that quarterbacking thing where like one person kind of runs the table and tells people what to do. But because it becomes this almost like cooperative puzzle-like thing when you're beating these big bad guys, it becomes everyone at the table is like adding in their own value and saying, here's what we have to do. Here's what my character is best at doing. Absolutely love that. Like if I only one dungeon crawling game for the rest of my life, it would be Sword and Sorcery, like hands down.
Awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, and what's going to be real, what I'm really excited about this Myths Arena is it's also adding, so it's obviously, if you can't already tell, it's kind of this gladiator arena expansion. So it's got a quest line that follows the story of season 2, but it also is going to add 2 other game modes where a survival PvE, where you're going to work together in an arena and just see how many rounds you can survive of baddies just keep flowing in. And then we're also adding a PvP. You guys can fight each other, mix and match characters from from both seasons, monsters from both seasons. So I just really like the flexibility of this game. It's
nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's like a game all on its own.
Yeah. So yeah, that's quarter 3, quarter 4, hopefully by September, but
Now,
So
dumb question, because I
yeah,
know not everyone may be familiar with Sword and Sorcery.
sure.
Is this able to be played on its own with that PvP piece, or do you need to have the base game
I'm
as well?
I'm pretty sure you need at least
Right.
one of the base games.
That's what I'm sure as
Either
well. Yeah.
either season 1 or season 2.
Cool.
So yeah. So then what's oh yes. Okay. So this is for all our RPG fans. We've recently partnered with another great RPG partner, Archeon Books. They've done bunch of different things, but they are doing a Dante's Inferno tabletop RPG for 5e. So it is for 5th edition. But man, this looks awesome and beautiful. I'm a huge tabletop RPG nerd. But and it's all for the celebration of Dante's anniversary of his 700th year of his death.
Wow.
Yeah, which I did not know. So
That's amazingly well timed.
yep. So yeah, it's gonna have Dante's Guide to Hell, which is the base book, Virgilio's Untold Tales, which is going to be kind of a story module, and Divine Comedy is going to kind of add monsters, classes, all that good stuff. And then everyone needs an awesome artwork DM screen. So that's the guides screen. But that's really honestly all I've got to say about that one, because we just kind of announced it that we're bringing it to retail
Sure.
a couple weeks ago. So I'm excited. Just keep on the lookout.
It looks amazing. It's like gorgeous looking art.
And I forgot to mention this. Those first slides that I showed of the list of stuff coming out, that's actually in access to everyone. It's open to the public on our website at ariesgames.eu. You can go to our upcoming page, and it's got all the sales sheets, got all the what's coming out, official release dates. And that is like the fastest thing. I mean, that sometimes gets updated with information before I even know it. So
okay. There you
go. So it's the
awesome.
Best place to find out more on everything.
Awesome.
And then last thing, much excite. We are coming out with a War of the Ring card game.
It's the year of the Hobbit.
yeah, it's a year. Yeah, exactly. And it's also being designed by Ian Brody, who made that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So yeah, he took this and ran with it. I mean,
nice.
He's developed this so fast. But
so is this going to be coming out around the same time that the TV show lands with Amazon?
We're trying September, October. So
okay, awesome.
Yeah,
that looks great. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So any retailers or anybody that's going to be at Gen Con, I think I'm going to have some production copies. Fingers crossed. So yeah, come see me if you go check it out. But
yeah, quite frankly, like if you're a retailer that hasn't carried the War of the Ring, the board game, I would be really shocked about that, because that game has been literally just like a cornerstone, in my opinion, in terms of like gamers and especially like the really entrenched gamers. This, just from what I see, like just this image and knowing Ian Brody's involved from a design perspective, I have to imagine that this is a game that both could appeal to the hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, but also appeal to the casual fan as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, because always the issue we find is I love War of the Ring. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But I also need to schedule a day to play it.
It's not a 30-minute session.
No. And this card game is going to be played within hour, 2 hour. That's what we're really trying. Nice. We're trying to take all, and it's going to use a lot of the same artwork. So it's literally taking that whole world and just condensing it into a smaller, more open, bite.
That sounds like a win to me.
Yeah, it's great. It's going to be 2 to 4 players, so it's not just that two player base.
Awesome.
Yeah, really, really excited. Oh, and then that I just wanted to quickly mention this too. Reprints for War of the Ring. We are doing our largest reprints that we've done in years. So I know
we already got orders into you on that, so I know that one for sure.
And I know this has always been an issue with retailers. I get a million questions this at Gamma and all the retailer shows. I promise we're pumping it out. We also got a neoprene mat coming out that's
Nice.
gonna release in, I believe, April or June, and we've got some new Witch King card sleeves that are also gonna come out, and just
Nice.
fits those kind of awkward cards that you have hard time finding sleeves for.
So, as I mentioned earlier, everything that you've
Mhm.
seen so far is in our system, ready to order, except for these last two things you just saw, the Dante's Inferno and the War of the Ring. Those have not been set up in the system yet. But as you
Right.
can see, also, there's no like SRP, no SKUs on any of these. So,
Yep.
as we get information from Aries for that, we will make sure to have that in our system to be able to pre-order on that. Essentially, anything Aries releases, we're going to be carrying. So,
Yeah, this is a
um,
little exclusive drop for my GTS family because
that's
we have,
cool. I like
yeah,
it.
we've only posted a few pictures and teasers on, on our social medias and
I
stuff
was
like
gonna say
that.
it's
So
all over now because this is going
yeah,
on YouTube, so it's going
yeah,
everywhere.
it's all. So yeah,
That's funny. Another good thing to note, and I always like to make sure the retailers know about this. So Aries is part of our demo program with GTS,
mhm,
which is a really easy demo program. Basically, it's for storefront stores, so brick and mortar stores. You can get a copy of a base game, any of the base games. So if you want to do Quartermaster General, or you wanted to do something, crazy and big like War of the Ring, you're allowed to get one base game per store per year. You get it at 25% of SRP. We work out all the partnership stuff on the back end with Aries and make it really, really simple for y'all. I would highly recommend. I mean, there are a lot of different variations of games that Aries has, right? They have things that are licensed like The Thing, War of the Ring. They have things like Sword and Sorcery. They have a lot of unlicensed things when you look at things like Dungeonology and you look at things like Orconomics. The really cool thing about Aries products is that they really stand out aesthetically. Like the art is tremendously good, but on top of that, the components and the pieces that are used in the game, whether they're miniatures or whether they're just kind of the regular components that you would see in board games, they're all really, really well manufactured. So if you're a store that is not so much demoing things and not so much putting things into a library to have people playing at your store, but you are still looking to like have a display copy, something where maybe you can open the box, put the board out, lay a couple of miniatures out, a couple of different things that give people that tactile sense of, learning a little bit about the game more than just picking up the box. You can use that demo program to be able to get a display copy for your store as well. And I think that's a great idea as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Taking it all on the free product. Come on now.
now you're dangerous. Now you're
Yeah.
throwing your email out there, man. Now people are going to contact you. No, I'm kidding. I
That's
was
fine.
actually just going to ask you what the best way is to contact you if retailers have a question. So that's
Yeah,
perfect.
so and that's any product questions, any super old product that you're looking to get that maybe somebody's not carrying, yeah, just or any sort of questions about product. We also have our newsletter, which is our classic way of getting out information. We
Mhm.
also give free product out through that. You reach out to our operations manager, Olivia, that's
Mhm.
listed below. She'll get you set up with that. But yeah, it's just the two of us in the LLC. So lots
That's
of
awesome.
yeah, lots of
That's good
stuff.
though, because I mean, as we're recording this right now, Christoph is probably having a glass of wine and getting ready to go to bed. So it's
That
late in
man
Italy.
is, yeah, it is late in Italy, but
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah,
I really appreciate it. And
yeah.
retailers, obviously, if you have questions about anything that you've seen here, you can reach out to me directly. My email is just smorris@gtsdistribution.com, or you can reach out to your account manager as well, of course. Again, everything that is released and announced so far is in our system. You can pre-order that today at gtsdistribution.com, or you can contact your account manager. But Nathan, as always, this is not a one and done type thing. As you guys have more new releases, maybe later in the year, as you know more about the War of the Ring card game, that's a good time to have you come back and talk a little bit more in detail about those. But really
Absolutely.
appreciate you taking the time, man. The thing looks pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm
So.
really excited.
I'm a big fan of that movie. I've always loved that.
Mhm.
It's like one of those like timeless movies, and it's a tale as old as time in terms of like there's a traitor in our midst, right? But it's just
Yep.
kind of how it's done that's so well presented. So really looking forward to playing that, especially knowing I don't have to play with a four larger group, which is kind of nice. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. All
There
right.
you go.
Well, my friend, as Christoph says, ciao. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Retailers, thank you very much. Appreciate y'all taking the time. Of course, if you're feeling exceptionally awesome, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, like our channel, subscribe to our channel. You can share it with other retailers. The most important thing is if you are subscribed to the channel, turn on notifications. That way, when we upload more webinars like this, you can get notified and know that there's more information for you to check out. But we really appreciate y'all taking the time to watch. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to leave a question below in the comments. We'll be happy to get back to you with anything that you need help with. So till we see you next time, thanks so much and have a great time in your stores.